It's a nice Saturday morning. Got my, at this point, fairly lukewarm coffee. And I figured it was a good time to sit down and talk about some video games. If only my MacBook didn't have other solutions. You're not gonna show the progress bar now, huh? After I've been sitting here for 10 minutes waiting? You're gonna be a little bitch? Huh? Oh, are you done updating now? Did I wait just long enough to complain about updating that you finally decided to finish? Oh, no. It rebooted 4 times. Now the actual update's starting. Fuck my ass. So in the last video, I threatened, when we were talking about the Steam machine, I threatened to also talk about the Steam frame because I thought it was very interesting. These are going to be 2 very different videos. The previous video was data and facts because we have all that stuff that's leaked out now. There's a lot of that stuff that's also floating around for the Steam frame. But to be upfront and honest with you, I don't personally find the Steam frame in its current form very interesting. Steam frame 2, Steam frame 3, that'll be when I get super into it, which is actually very depressing because this product is actually something that I've wanted for an extremely long time. I've been in the VR scene, adjacent to it at least, since the DK2, people using that to play TF2 and that kind of stuff. I had a Gear VR, I had Google Cardboard. I bought a Vive when they first came out, and I even have Knuckles for them. I really do enjoy VR. So I'm also very opinionated about VR. I don't really like the current state of VR with the way that Facebook is, in my opinion, dumbing down VR because it's now... We'll talk about that later, but what I really wanted to talk about is I wanted to talk about the actual software side of things because, again, this is going to be a feelings video. This is going to be this is what I'm excited about. This is not us sitting down and talking about data. And the big thing that I want to talk about, it's not this, but we can demonstrate it with this. So this is a Retroid Pocket Flip 2. It is a Android gaming handheld that's designed for emulation. I got this because my last role in my current job, I traveled a lot. I was traveling around the country installing IT hardware in various places. So when you do that, you got a lot of plane flights you got to take. Now, while the Steam Deck is really great, I played most of the Dark Souls franchise on this. I played the Outer Worlds on this. There's a lot of really good games that I've played on the Steam Deck. It's big. I'm also kind of a big dude. I don't know if I've ever I'm a fairly large guy. So when I'm sitting in a plane and I've got this, my arms come out and it's so cue the handheld because then I can kind of be a little bit more. I can be a little bit more contained that way. But one of the cool things about this handheld is that it actually can run Linux. And it is a native Linux. I say native. It's not made by the guys who made this, but it runs U-boot, so you can just boot whatever the hell you want to off of it. So what I was originally intending on doing, let me go ahead and I'm going to restart this thing and get it into U-boot mode for y'all. So what I was actually intending on doing was finding the binaries that are out there, because there are binaries out there. You can actually see in this forum thread here before while I boot this, some people found the Steam ARM. There was a public beta of the Steam ARM client somewhere. I don't know how they found this, but somebody found it. And then people were able to start loading Steam onto rock chip boards and Raspberry Pis and those kind of here's a dude who's got a what is this? It's an SBC. He doesn't say what it is, but it's some kind of SBC that's got PCIe. He's got a 2060 hanging off the side of it here. But one of the ideas that I was going to do was I was going to sit down and I was going to load Linux on this. I found this client and I was like, okay, well, I'll go through and I'll set it all up and we'll try to emulate the Steam Frames Linux experience so we can just talk about the software stack that they have, which is the interesting part about this, in my opinion. But come to find out, whenever I went to go boot the one of the recommended Linux distros for this thing was Rocknix, which as far as I can tell is I think it's a rebranding of Batocera, I think. I don't know. It might be a successor or something, but it's basically just a bare bones Linux install. It's designed around emulation. But the entire point is to allow you to have more flexibility rather than just running Android on this thing, right? Because Android's cool and all. It's got a lot of very mature ecosystem apps. but it doesn't have Steam, and it's not a traditional computer operating system in the way that most people would think of a computer operating system, in terms of like how software's run on it and your freedoms and access that you have to the system and that kind of stuff. So having Linux on this is a cool thing. The thing that really is interesting to me is, well, Steam Deck is big and this is small, and it would be kind of nice to play these games while on a plane. I'm going to try to keep this as, this is very, very, very awkward, so I apologize. Let me do this. Wow, you would not believe. Okay, so first off, for the record, I have to make it clear that you should not daily drive this. This is a buggy piece of crap. This is not going to be long term after this video. I'm also running things off the SD card, so load times are incredibly long. You can load this natively on the eMMC, which I did not do because that would require me to factory reset Android, and for a 10-minute video where I wasn't even sure if I'm going to use this long term, I'm not going to do that. I said 10-minute video. Let's be real. This isn't going to be a 10-minute. Oh, that's a problem. It was working last night. Oh, I have a mouse cursor. At this point, I don't really know what I'm going to leave in the edit and what I'm not going to leave in the edit. All I know is that whenever I try to boot Dark Souls and I would try to render 3D visuals, it would render a black screen, and then I booted into Halo 3 and I did the same thing, but the menu worked, so I don't know what that was about. So instead, what I'll do is I'm just going to reinstall Steam. And I'll walk you through the process, which originally I was just going to kind of keep that at a high level. Just be like, oh, here's what I did. Here's all the working games. Haha, let's go on. Can't do that anymore. So I'm just going to come along with the ride now. The software actually has a native installer for Steam. So we can just go to Tools, and then we just go to Install Steam. So this is what I was going to do manually over here in the thread. Just going through what they were all doing. I was going to follow these steps. I was going to symlink what I needed to symlink. I was going to do a build of Proton, and I was going to do all that stuff trying to get this to work. But then I load up the software, and it's just in the menu. So it kind of took some of the wind out of my sails, but that's fine. We're still going to have a fun video, I promise. So let's go ahead and hit install. This is a self-contained script, so you literally just tell it to install, and it just does it. The first time that I installed it, I had to reboot Emulation Station in order for the menu item to show. For some reason, it's still showing the menu item after I've uninstalled, but whatever. Just if you don't see it after installing, just reboot the thing and you're fine. This will take a while because it has to download Proton, it has to download the Steam binary, it's got to do a bunch of setting things up, it's got to do a bunch of sim linking, it's got to make sure your apps are up to date, but that's fine. Just let it run through, do its thing. This whole process will probably be about 5 to 10 minutes. Hey, there we go, finally. Okay, so Steam is now installed, and then we can boot right in. Oh, the Steam option is missing from the menu. That's cool. We're gonna restart, like I said you should. God, now I need to sign in again. Fuck me. So installing games is pretty much exactly like it is on the Steam Deck. You just go to the game, you hit install. If you want to go into the settings to customize your options, you totally can. But like as you can see, it's sitting here downloading. Getting pretty great performance, even keeping in mind that this is a lower powered Android handheld. It is downloading at about 300 megs a second, and writing to an SD card that it is booted off of. Very impressive how well this works. You can see the moments where like it stutters and it lags because like it has to think, and it's hard to tell how much of that is because I'm currently downloading the game booted off the same drive, and also it's an SD card, so who knows what issues there are there, and blah blah blah. Let's see, is it gonna work? I'm really hopeful for this, because otherwise I'm going to feel like a really big idiot trying to talk about how cool this deck is going to be. Well, that seems like a good sign. I have the launcher at least. We've got a Bethesda logo. Check it out. It's actually working. Its frame pacing is, I can just tell from the camera preview that frame pacing is jittery as crap, but it is holding around 30 frames. Oh, okay. Yeah, it's jittering a little bit, but that's actually pretty fucking cool. What is that, 20 frames? 19 frames? And just, oh no, I've tried to pause. this part is probably because of the SD card. Like it's probably trying to page from RAM and load. Either that or it just crashed when I tried to do that. I have unfortunately crashed it. Okay, well. I really didn't want to have it as the prop for the whole thing anyway. I just wanted to talk about the technology. But this is a good demo for the technology. I installed Steam, I installed Skyrim, and it just worked. Like, that's so cool. All right, now that my very frustrating demo is finally completed, we can talk about the actual like fun part of things. The actual fun part that I want to talk about is the software like that. The emulation layers that Valve has put a lot of effort into, because it's not just Wine. Obviously, this all starts with Wine as an original concept. Without Wine, none of this would have started. None of this would have happened in the first place. But they took that concept and then building other layers around it with Proton and the Steam Linux runtime and like all those other things to fix Linux gaming and fix the weird technical issues like what used to be trying to run a Windows program on Linux or even Mac OS for that matter. It just like takes it to a whole new level, and it just simplifies everything, and it makes it so friendly to new people. Like this is something where like I could probably hand this to, like, you could probably, like, if you had a Steam Deck, you could probably hand that to your mom and she could probably figure it out, right? Even if she doesn't play video games, right? Like it's fairly straightforward stuff, right? And that's the part that excites me, is we're getting to a point where technology like Linux is running software that it was never designed to run, and like it's kind of an unholy abomination what everyone has made Linux do in some regards like this, and it's just so cool to see. It's so cool to see people taking these barriers that used to exist, these walls that used to be there, and tearing them down and saying, I don't care, I'm just going to do it anyway because that's just what I do, and I love that in humanity. So yeah, I'm very excited about about what the technology this is going to enable in the future, because like shit, like even when running this thing on Android, I'm already seeing benefits for that too, because here's the other demo that I wanted to show off. Where's my SD card? Android has this cool software called WinLater, which is a lot of the same tech. It's running DXVK for ARM, and it's got a bunch of other emulation layers. But this will boot a Windows container that you can then run your games in through Wine. So let me start this game real quick. Even on Android, like I can do a lot of the same things. This game takes a little bit to load too, because again, it's coming from my SD card. So you can see it's like its memory is growing. So it is loading. It's just loading very slowly. And like it kind of loads in chunks. We've actually got it loaded up now. Yeah, there we go. Modern Warfare 2. I can just play it in the plane, right? Like I can just load. Yeah, the loading is going to be very, very, very slow. I don't know what the deal is with that, actually. Nope. I've got sound. Hey, hey. Look at that. We're running. What are we running at? 20 frames a second. That seems a little low. 25 frames a second. So I can't change my graphics settings because this game makes you pick a team, and I just want to kind of spectate for a little bit. Oh, never mind. Can I pick another player to spectate? Yeah, there we go. Okay, let's watch this guy quickscope for a little bit. But yeah, like as you can see, like this is very clearly the PC version of the game running. It's also very clearly running on the hardware because it's running like shit. Yeah, this is all running in a Windows container on Android. Like, this is some cool stuff, right? The average person would see this and go, "Oh my god!" Like. So it looks like there's still some issues with loading, so that might again be my SD card's fault. Yeah, like every time I cut and it has to like load, it kind of struggles for a second. Yeah. So again, this is likely just because I'm again playing off my SD card. I'm gonna say that until the end of time, but I find that to be super fucking cool, because this is again an Android handheld that I've played Pokemon on, and now able to play Call of Duty on it if I want to in a plane. Like that's wild to me that technology has gotten to that point, that this thing can fold up and fit in my pocket, and I can play everything from. I can almost play everything from all of time up until what, like 2010. Oh no, Dark Souls did work. Dark Souls 2 did work. It just wasn't working tonight for whatever reason. So the technology is super cool, and that's what makes me so excited about the Steam Frame, because the idea of having a dedicated headset that is just a VR thing that you just put on your head, and then you have your controllers in your hand, and that's all you have to do. There's no wires, there's no setup, there's no anything, and it just fucking plays your games. That's such a cool idea. I wanted an x86 based one because, again, Valve has experience building these x86 gaming computers. They literally have one. If they just take this and make it more powerful, and I don't know, give me like a backpack unit that then I can have just a headset on my head, and then all the computing's whatever, figure it out. That's a really cool idea. That's a really neat idea. Opens up a lot of potential. And then obviously all the news came out that it's ARM based, and I'm I was very, what's the word? Bearish. Bearish is the one where you're not optimistic on it. Bullish is you're very optimistic. So I'm bearish. I was bearish about, I have a friend who's gonna be very proud of me for remembering that. I've been very bearish about the whole ARM translation layers before, because on my M1 Mac, I do genuinely really love my M1 Mac as far as performance and editing and everything is concerned. But whenever I tried, I've tried Crossover, I've tried Game Porting Toolkit, I've done all these different games, and I know the hardware is capable of slightly more than I was getting, and it just never really manifested in ways that I was expecting, and it was kind of annoying. After having that experience and hearing all of this, I was like, I don't know, it's really not going to be that good. But shortly before Valve actually came out with this, I'll have to see if I can pull up some conversations I was having with some friends about it. But I owned this before the Steam Machine or the Steam Machine and the Steam Frame were announced. And I discovered the Winlator and everything before all of that happened. So then it was like, okay, so people are doing work to make ARM work better for the things. So it's like, all right, cool. This will happen eventually at some point in time. I still don't think it's ready yet. And here we are. It's more or less ready. It's not ready on my particular device because it's a Snapdragon 865. It's not very powerful to begin with, and also it's not the hardware that Valve is testing on. It's running a weird, janky, custom Linux fork that's probably forked from 14 different projects. I have no fucking idea what drivers it's on. It's available for a bunch of other devices, so it's probably not even well optimized for my device, and who knows what other problems are going on. Running it off an SD card, there's so many problems with it. But the fact that it just worked, the fact that I just installed a game fresh and hit play and it loaded and it worked is incredible. I can't even think of the last time actually it was the MacBook, the M1 MacBook that I'm using to record this, was that was the first moment where it was like, wow, this really is some nifty fucking technology. Because the way the processors work, they're so fundamentally different on a core level, and it's just using software to overcome hardware limitations is always something that I find super cool. Because you can always just make hardware and just throw hardware at the problem, right? You can always just spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on something, and eventually your problem will be fixed. I don't care what rich people say. Eventually, if you have enough money and then you use enough of it, your problems go away. Software, you have to be a lot more creative. That it is true in a lot of ways for software as well, but software also, because it's immutable, it's not something physical, you can just kind of do whatever you want to with it. It kind of gives it this second life, this weird ethereal thing. I don't know that I could even quantify, but it gives you something extra that you can just kind of play with and manipulate. And the fact that people can take hardware and that was hardware that was built in purpose for one thing and then go, no, fuck you, I'm going to do my own thing. You better listen to me. And it work. That's just cool. I find it cool. I don't know. Maybe I'm a turbo nerd. He says, having just spent a few hours filming a video. Yeah, let's gloss over that real quick. Actually, now that I think about this for a minute, this might just be a weird brain thing that I have because I've been playing console port on my Steam Deck for a little bit. So maybe I just like taking things in general and just making them do things. that they're not supposed to do as just like a core thing. At any rate, it doesn't really matter. Again, I just wanted this to be a fun video, or I just wanted to show off like how the technology works and just talk about how that kind of makes me excited for the future. So let's talk about the future. What is the future? The Steam Frame is obviously going to be a Gen 1 product. What's the Gen 2 going to look like? That's where I get excited, because right now Valve is kind of competing with the Oculus, and as much as I want that to not be the case, because I really thoroughly enjoyed the VR experiences that I got with my Vive and with the Knuckles, because like having full finger tracking in VR is absolutely magical, and being able to just literally like pick things up and like yoink them, and like it's like it is unreal how like it remaps your brain almost. There were several times while playing VR when I first got it, as well as whenever I got the Knuckles, that like I would like, my brain would take reality and map it to, like, it would act like I was in virtual reality. Like when I first got my Vive, I was playing a lot of Payday 2 and I had free movement enabled. And there was one time at my job that I was walking into the back, and instead of walking like I do in real life, I was gliding. Like I felt like I was in Payday walking around, because my brain had like rewired to it. That was a bizarre feeling. And something similar happened to me too when I was playing Half-Life Alyx a lot. With the hands thing, because like you just get like so used to it that it just like, anyway. But that level of fidelity is just not available on the Quest 3, because it is a cheaper, lower spec device that is not able to run as incredible games, and it also has a lot of limitations in regards to the software design and your controller input, because you do have little handheld things, right? You've got analog sticks, right? You do have buttons, but you don't really have full finger manipulability. So that means that if your game is going to target those lower devices, you have to simplify your game design in some ways, whether that's making it so that way you're just simulating fingers in your game, and then you manually release, and whenever one button is pressed, like it actually moves 3 fingers or whatever. You can do that, but then that might create conflicts with physics models whenever you're trying to grab onto things. Like maybe you only actually have like one finger slightly grabbing onto things with that design. So then you go and you have to think about things, and then so then it slowly becomes that people make the games for the Quest 3 with the limited inputs, and then the experience that you get when you're doing real VR is you're basically just playing it's essentially like playing a phone game on your computer, right? Like you're still playing a phone game, it's just with a mouse and on a bigger screen, but you still have to like touch screen buttons and stuff like that. Like it's that kind of experience that I'm not particularly a fan of. It really has diminished my enjoyment of a lot of VR games that are coming out nowadays, which isn't to say that they're bad, because there are some fun. There's some great VR games that are out right now. It's just they could be so much better if the top of the line model, the top of the Halo experience, whatever term you want to use, the best possible thing, was just a little bit nicer, had a little bit more features or whatever. And that's what makes me excited for the V2 of this, because at that point it'll be established. Developers will have a little bit more of a push behind them. There'll be new experiences. People will be more willing to buy this thing, which will then create more potential developers, and then the cycle kind of can kick back up. Maybe then people who are developing for this will then start to port games to Quest, so then that might start reviving interest in VR again, and then that might get the ball rolling. Who knows? My big concern right now, though, is just how this goes, because I want the V2 to be phenomenal, because it will launch into a established market. Valve will then Valve could do a low end model, which is what the Steam Frame could slot into in this proposition I'm making. And then 3 years from now they do the Valve Index 2, and it's actually just a beefy, like it's got 4 times the performance, and it's got it's like an actual premium version of this headset. Like it's a beefy boy, and then that can play like Star Citizen in VR, or like, you know what I mean? Like that, just a massive like performance lift. That's the kind of stuff that gets me excited about the Steam Frame and the potential there, is that just that performance delta, because being able to have like a really nice like high-end 2K OLED screen that's like 240 hertz directly in front of my face. That's not cheap. That's going to be expensive. But if I'm going to have that experience, I just want the performance to go with it. So by the time a V2 runs around, the processor will be much beefier, the software will be much more mature, there'll be much more of a bigger ecosystem, and then maybe at that point Valve can reintroduce the Knuckles, and we have Knuckles 2, and then we actually have a proper high-end VR experience again. Hallelujah, a girl can dream. I don't think that's actually going to pan out. This is just my hope for the future, I guess. I'm really excited for the Steam Frame. I hope it does well. I'm not excited for this particular product called the Steam Frame. I'm excited for the product line that is the Steam Frame. It will become something really cool. And I guess we're just going to have to wait and see at what point I get one. I'm most definitely not, unless I can get like a used one for like $300 in a few years. I'm definitely not going to pick up a Steam Frame. But Steam Frame 2, hey, call me.